I'm going to start off by saying Kingbird Highway is a must-read if you're a birding enthusiast. I just wrapped it up. It is written by Ken Kaufman. He's probably most well known for writing the Kaufman field guides for birds of North America. Some great stuff in those field guides as well, but when I heard that he had this book about his big year that he did in 1973, I had to check it out. And me and Ryan actually did some filming at the biggest week in American birding, and we got to meet Ken and talk about one of his newer books he wrote. But hearing about this one, I picked up a copy and just finished it, and I really enjoyed it. So basically it starts with him being in his teens and hitchhiking across the United States to try to find as many bird species as possible, which is known as a big year. And one of the cool things about this book is to see how much the culture has changed in the United States. Like even just hearing about someone hitchhiking across the US, I believe he was like 16, 17 years old when he started doing that. And to be able to do that without too many, negative things happening is kind of crazy to think about. It makes me wonder if you could do that today, how it would go. It's probably not that safe to do, but back then it was a different time. And so this review is going to include some information about the book. Some people might consider that spoilers. I'm not going to spoil any of the huge revelations from the book as far as the total or who won the competition, because it is a bit of a competition between him and one other birder mentioned in the book as well. But it's really digestible since you're kind of going through a calendar year, so you can kind of know where you are at all times. And Ken has also included these little maps. And so they show where he is in the United States, which is really helpful to kind of see, okay, that's where he's going. And then he also has little illustrations in here, which I think really add to it, thinking about it from kind of a naturalist perspective. But the whole book is really interesting to hear the way he describes things. And also it provides a great overview of birding history. It talks about the start of the ABA, the American Birding Association, and a lot of the early players in the game of birding before people really knew that it existed. So this was back, I think slightly before there was a hotline you could call to find out what rare birds were being seen. So you would hear about something rare and then, it might have been, oh, it was there a month ago or a couple weeks ago. But to see him kind of navigate his way and grow and mature as a person was really fascinating in this book. I think all birders can relate to at least some aspects of it. But it was cool to see the places that he went, or places to find certain species, if they were still in that place today or if they'd kind of moved. And even going down, he went down to Mexico to find the eared trogon, which is now known as the eared quetzal. But those were actually found in Arizona after he had went down to that expedition. So there are some names of things that it goes by the old names in the book. That's also kind of cool to see. But just his adventure and his journey and what he learns. And ultimately he starts off doing this competitive big year, but he also talks about kind of, does that really mean anything? Does getting a high total make you a good birder? Is that really valuable, or is it what you see along the way? And then kind of you can see where he's transitioning from young listing birder to a more thoughtful field guide oriented ornithologist, where you can see kind of his decisions at the end of the book are making him think, well, I want to observe these birds more. And I think that's kind of what led him into making his field guides. It also talks about other incredible birders like Ted Parker, who unfortunately passed away, but his start and how incredible of a birder he was. There's a nod to some other great birders in the U.S. as well. Victor Emanuel, kind of when he was a kid, because I've heard about the Victor Emanuel nature tours, and to hear about him when he was young was really neat. So it's just a fascinating adventure, and I think if you're a nature lover, you probably don't even have to be a birder. You would enjoy reading this book and seeing kind of the history of everything. So I would definitely say this is a must read. I think I have a greater knowledge of the birding world after reading it, and just the different places that Ken goes in the book. You can really go there in your mind and learn about some birding experiences that you think, that's a place that I want to go. That's the species that I want to see. So it's a good, inspiring book, and just a great one if you're a birder or nature lover. So if you've read Kingbird Highway, let me know what you think in the comments below. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, there's a lot that we didn't talk about in it, but I kind of want you to get that effect if you read it. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding.